My first teacher was Carson Grace, one of the Grace family in Brazil. He took me to the gym the first time I met him to see what Jiu-Jitsu was, and then gave me some pair of boxing gloves. And then he asked me, you want to strike any of my students here? I said, well, striking. Why I need to strike it? And he said, no, like this you're going to see what Jiu-Jitsu is. And then I started to punch Murilo Bustamante back in the days. And then he put me down, took my back and choked me out. And then I said, oh, Leo, man. Since then now, I have been doing Jiu-Jitsu for, we say around something like 25 years. I was living south of France before, in Monte Carlo. And then I come over here to England just, you know, to see the summer, how London, you know, I've never been in London before. I stayed for a while and then I met a few friends. We started training together. And then that almost like 10 years end up here. I have few of them come over here because they had a fight on the street, or else they had a problem with their wife. Most of them, probably for the wife anyway, believe me. So then they come over here and they found a family.
When I was younger, I'd done like weightlifting for like 10 years. From the age of 15 to about 25, I was obsessed with pushing my body to the highest limit. And then after I had an accident and I nearly lost my arm, and I was out of action for like 18 months, 2 years. And then in the process of that, I fell in love with the UFC. Before mixed martial arts, my life wasn't really on the straight and narrow. I was more caught up in just making money, just living the fast life. Hence the reason I crashed the car on the motorway in the fast lane. Sometimes when you're in the fast lane too long, you crash, and that's what happened to me. When I first went to a mixed martial arts club, I wasn't even sure if I could punch, and I didn't get declared from a doctor to go, but I just said, something I want to do. So martial arts, you can kind of get into that older and challenge yourself, trying to do something different. I got kids, I got a lot of family members that look up to me. Don't want them to be showing them, like living up to the statistics of a black man. I don't want to fit into that society no more. So.
My name is Roberto Almeida. I'm black belt in judo and 4th degree, and black belt in jiu-jitsu 4th degree as well. Started judo when I was 4. All my life, basically. I was national team in Brazil, and 5 times Brazilian champion. A friend of mine in Brazil is very famous in the world, Amaury Vitetti. That when I met Leo, and I started training jiu-jitsu in that time, and never stopped. I came from a very bad background in Brazil, and I don't know if it would happy with me, but it's happy with my friends. They were in prison, some dead. Judo keeping me now another way, in the right way. I think I'm 48 now. I all my life, you know, of martial arts. I had a lot of injuries. And I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, and only training and work, and all my time for training, work, and my family.
So I started karate classes at age of 4. I got into competing at age of 5. That was kind of like a family thing as well. Like my mum and granddad wanted me to do something with my energy, but they also started karate at the same time. So my first UFC event, UFC 40, that was in about 2004. I just bought the DVD out of curiosity, watched it. You know, I had kind of like a crazy old grandfather growing up who was also doing lots of martial arts, and he was always, you know, he was a bit more the mystical side, you know, chi knockouts and like he used to give me a wrist and he'd throw me about the living room doing all this Aikido stuff. So it was kind of a lot of heavy influence from family members, and also just my own competitive nature, I guess, which has kept me going, really. This just kind of speaks to me, and it's not about fighting people, it's not about beating people up, because, you know, I've had, like most young men, I've had street altercations at certain points in time, and I'm the kind of person who just call the police, walk away. I don't want anything to do with that. It's not about proving myself ego-wise. But when it comes to competition, I think some people just have like this competitive desire to win, or at least improve themselves that way. And for me, this is it. When you're here and you're training, you don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about those things that most of us spend a lot of time stressing about. When I'm lifting weights or when I'm jogging, I'm not worrying about the fact that the council's chasing me for hundreds of pounds, which I haven't paid. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, escapism is definitely a part of it. With martial artists, it's a different kind of relationship. There's so many different types of people that come to the gym to train this sport. In training, you're not trying to hurt each other, but it hurts. You know, getting hit in the face will ultimately cause some pain, and getting kicked certain ways, and you're not trying to hurt each other, but it does happen. So yeah, it's a difficult kind of relationship to describe. It's a bit like sort of kind of brotherhood to it, really. Not to sound cliche, but there is. You become quite close to these people, which I don't think is easy to find outside of that.
In the moment now, I just look more like to teaching, to bring my fighters to UFC. I have maybe 2 guys here. One now, he's in Thailand, and then another one, he made operation in his knee. So, but, you know, they're very good.
And what does the sport mean to you? How does it make you feel?
The sport?
Yeah.
No, I don't call sport, I call life. That's my life, something.